Welcome to Inside the Kennel podcast, ladies and gentlemen. This week we're going to be looking at finding some of those old bones. We're going to show you stuff inside the kennel that you knew was never there. And of course, we'll find this stuff with my good friend. He's got a really good nose for smelling out these type of stories. Is my old good mate, Mattie. How you travelling, Mattie?
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, Paul. It's been a pretty big week in footy, and I'm really keen to talk a little bit about the draft and some of the awesome selections that have just happened.
Yeah, let's talk about that, mate. What a week. I think the fans, I read the forum, I think the fans are going to absolutely love some of the guys we've got. We've got our big backmen. We hear that all the time. The fans feel like we're a bit short down the back and there's maybe not some vision around where's that going. We've certainly got the forward line and the on-ballers. And there's been some messaging around maybe we need another small forward perhaps to add a little bit more dynamic nature down there. And I think perhaps they're going to be pretty happy with that. They're generally high draft picks. So let's start with our big backman. What's his name? What's he about? He looks like he's got to fill out a bit there, Mattie. So tell us about Jed Buslinger and what a cracking surname.
It's a ripping name. I'm sure the nicknames will be flying thick and fast. He's, he's 196 centimetre centre half back, typically from East Perth. He can play. He's got a bit of a Leo Barry about him. He can read the play really well in the air. He looks strong. And the thing that sort of struck me watching, some of the matches in the lead up was that before he got his shoulder injury, that is, he's ready to hit the ground running, and so he's an attacking style that I think really caught the eye of our recruitment team, and Bevo loves that sort. So he's going to be an exciting prospect. But he's got some competition because we've got a lot of tools back there. We've just brought in Liam Jones. We've got Ryan Gardner, we've got Alex Keith, and Josh Bruce, by the way, has started the pre-season in defence. So you've got four beasts down there. Now you've had.
Mattie, listen, I've said this to you several times when we message each other. You've got to get back into journalism, mate, because that was almost like a declaration on your behalf telling us that news, and you're dead right. He's certainly got some competition. But what about this? He's from Western Australia. We've got English and we've got Nordo. They've got a laid-back vibe, haven't they? Do you think that'll be something that'll be an advantage for him?
Yeah, quite possibly. Add JJ to that list as well, as a WA boy, and he's got a kind of a laconic feel about him. He's also got that magnificent head of hair. I think he's been one of my 1980s barbers because it's a good look, and I think we don't mind a mullet down there. Look, I think he'll fit in really well, and I just hope that our fans will be reasonably patient with him because, as we know, we've got a lot of experience. He's got to bide his time. He's coming back from a long-term shoulder injury, so I think 2024 is probably going to be, a year that we start seeing more of him, and hopefully we get a little taste of this year.
That absolutely, and as we know, Jamara took a while to get himself going, mate. And I had no doubt Jed will probably be a similar situation. But the best backman, it appears, in the draft. Now here comes Charlie Clark. Tell me about Charlie. I've seen some footage of him. He's quick. He's got some lovely skills. He loves the goal, and doesn't he like to celebrate?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've been screaming out for this type of player. We've obviously got Cody Waitman down there, and he brings that energy and zest to the forward line, forward pressure. It's exactly the same as Charlie Clark there. He just punches the air in delight, and that's going to pump up the crowd. And I think we've over the journey the last couple of years, we've tried to reimagine a lot of our players, half backs and midfielders into forwards, whereas this chap is a natural forward. So I think, get excited if he can work in partnership with the Flea down there. And, you've got two ready-made forwards, and then, our other players who've played midfield time can go down there and chip in, with JJ and Vandermeer and even the likes of Smith, so I think, those ones will top it up, but you need two players who have got that craft as a natural ability, and Charlie Clark's going to bring that.
Absolutely. And as you said before, it takes time, so we don't want to expect too much from these guys. It's a huge jump from under 18 football, TAC Cup, to AFL football, Mattie. There's a big pre-season, their bodies have to adjust, so we've got to just give them a bit of time. I think that's really wise words on your behalf. Where do we go next, Mattie? We jumped to what? Was it around 40?
Yeah, it was 39. So Harvey Gallagher. Now, this chap was he played a lot of midfield time. He's from Dandenong Stingrays, and he probably in his first year, because he's a second year, he's an overage player. He probably struggled a little bit, and they decided to put him behind the ball on the half back line, and he just blossomed this year. He had a couple of games off the half back line where he was scoring, where he's getting 40 possessions plus. So he knows how to find the pill, and he just runs straight at it. He's got a bit of a Bob Murphy shimmy about his style. Looks exciting. We've got about 52 halfback flankers on our list. So again, how Beveridge has got to work out how he squeezes these sort of players in. But 3 young players. If we see a snapshot of them this year, fantastic. But they're long-term propositions. So yeah, I think we can get pretty excited.
Absolutely, and I think just listening to the recruiters, I think anyone in the top 40 is a good footballer, and I think they're excited by them, expect them to play a lot of footy. Again, I've seen Harvey's highlights, as you said, started in the forward line, so he has forward line craft, but removed to the half back and sort of moves very nicely. He just glides across that ground. He's very comfortable and very confident. So a good pick. Who's our next man, mate?
Well, that's the 3. So we've got a couple of places left on our list. Ultimately, they will probably go to the mid-season draft, to pick up a player and a needs-based player. So let's see how that sort of unfolds. I would have thought Mitch Wallace was possibly in the fold to have a late recall. I'm still devastated by that, as a lot of people are, that Mitchie isn't on the list. And you probably saw during the week as well that some new numbers have been allocated. I don't know if you saw that.
Let's talk about that, mate. Look, again, there's been a little bit of news around Cody certainly receiving that jumper. You made a note a couple of weeks ago that he lived with Mitch for a while and they had a wonderful relationship. Lob gets number 7. But getting back to Cody, was that a bit early, or do you think that's just the club taking the opportunity to acknowledge Wallace's career at the club and how they value that number 3?
Yeah, it's a hard one because there's sensitivities around that. You've got a father, son, and a club favourite in Mitch Wallace who's just recently left, and someone's jumped straight into his Guernsey, and knowing the professional that Mitch is, he'll and he loves Cody. He'll be happy for him, but I think it would probably be with an element of sort of sadness as well that's sort of gilded on that. But you know what? He'll be down there first match, round 1, Mitch Wallace, and he'll be cheering as hard as you and I. And Cody is the sort of player who really, I think, recognises and understands the honour of that. And Mitch Wallace, as his mentor, probably really will have impressed that. You've got players like EJ that you're representing here. It's a powerful Guernsey, so get out there. And that number 3 Guernsey brings energy from the crowd as well. When you see the number 3, everyone naturally has that expectation, and I think Cody's the one that will probably ride off the coattails of that that enthusiasm, and probably see him fly to even greater heights. So I reckon it's a savvy move from the club, with that level of sensitivity overlay as well.
And listen, it's clear to see Lobby and Dougie why he got number 70. I mean, they're very similar players, obviously. I can see that sort of correlation there. What's your thoughts on that? I mean, it's opposites there, isn't it? Talk me through that one.
Yeah, like often they play a like for like. Number 7. You've seen Doug, you've seen Scotty West. You expect a dynamic young forward to have taken, be bestowed that honour. So the club sprung a bit of a surprise to give it to a 50-foot tall giant, veteran, and so that's a sort of I guess a bit of a change of philosophy or style there, and I think Lob will be a great player for us. So let's hope he can do really well in Dougie's Guernsey, because we love him, and we love the number 7 as well as we do with the number 3.
Absolutely, and I think why not try things differently as well, Matty? Why not? You've got 2 terrific players there with new numbers, and that really motivates people, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I would think so, and maybe there's some psychology in there that we're not aware of, and that's what they're paid the big bucks, and we're just sitting in a screen speculating. But the other thing that I don't know, it's just been released today, is that Liam Jones has been given the number 19 Guernsey, and that was the jumper that he had until he left the club. I think it must have been 2014. So he's back in his old Guernsey, interestingly, and that's the jumper that was just being vacated by Cody Waitman. So there's a little bit of human Tetris going on there, and we've got our jumpers sort of setting up. So, who gets the number 5 now? Who gets the number 13? Who gets the number 8? That's Ricky Kennedy's old number. So, maybe, you need a tough nut sort of character. So, yeah, watch this space. It's always intriguing. Ultimately it doesn't mean much once they run out in the field there. You've got your 18 players on the field. It doesn't matter if you're wearing the number 1 or the number 99. You're out there to do your job, and they'll do it proud.
Absolutely. Where are we at with the ground, Matty? Have you been down there? What's going on? Are we going to get on there sooner rather than later? Yeah,
I'm a bit of a loser. Whenever I get a couple of hours up my sleeve, I like to go for a drive, go over to the West Gate, and have a sneaky peek at the ground. And it's slow progress. The ground's really leveled, and it looks like the grass is going to be put on soon. There's they've gutted completely the high performance centre, so it looks like they've got lots of people on the job, so it'll be as fast as it possibly can be. So in the meantime, if you fancy watching the players, they're down at Skinner's Reserve in Braybrook having the training sessions. They expect that they're going to get them on back, sometime in the mid-year, in the new year. I imagine probably around March, where they'll start running out there and be able to access it. But it'll be players only. It won't be access because it'll still be a construction site for all intents and purposes. But it's going to be a fantastic facility.
And AFLW girls, how are they travelling? And we know they got knocked out in their final, but I think they've had their recent B&Fs and so forth. Another season wrapped up there, and they start preparing, having a break and getting ready for their pre-season a bit later. What's going on in that space, Matty?
Yeah, totally. Well, I think Ali Blackburn, she just take a bow. What an incredible player. She missed out for the A8 All-Australian selection, which is just a head scratcher for me, because I watched her so closely every match, and she's just a cut above. She's dominant. She's magical, actually, and just really inspiring. My young daughters absolutely adore her, and but Ali will put the feet up like the rest of the players. They're probably off in Bali now, just enjoying some sunshine and a nice earned break, and looking forward to how the AFLW season structures up next year. When it starts, I quite liked the end of the sort of men's season, where the energy's really up. And that seemed to be an okay format. They'll probably continue to tinker with it to get the fixturing exactly right. But you know what? It's meant to be cricket season and World Cup season now, but in my house it doesn't matter. It's footy season all round, as with you, and hence we keep on chatting. So we're looking forward to bringing our supporters lots more of this over the summer. So what I suggest, people, if you're watching this right now, go into the Bulldog channel, which is Inside the Kennel. That's the name of our podcast, Inside the Kennel. You can click subscribe. Once you're in there, you'll get notifications of all our interviews with past players that are as they drop. It's free. We've got an incredible lineup of past players that we're about to interview right through the summer. Without giving too much away, there's some absolute Bulldog royalty. Dougie Hawkins is going to be joining us every episode as our co-host special guest, and he'll be previewing our players, and starting with the big one, a premiership favourite. We're going to start with Clay Smith. So get excited, keep your eye on social media, and we'll no doubt drop that interview very shortly, and you're going to hear some really amazing insights of the 2016 grand final and Clay Smith's career in general. What
a tough player. And look, they're lining up to get onto the show, Matty. We don't have to go out to them. We're getting texts, we're getting messages. It's terrific. So yeah, absolutely. And Matty, before we go, we always like to end the show with what? With a bit of a woof woof.
Indeed, a big woof woof, because it's a big year ahead. If you haven't got your membership, people, get on board, because no membership means no grand final ticket opportunity. No grand final ticket opportunity means you're sitting on the sofa while Paul and I are at the MCG cheering the Dog Store flag. So you heard it here first, guys. You can save that, put that as your screensaver, and go Dogs.
Absolutely.